This is the Erasing Shame podcast. My name is DJ Chuang, and today on this episode, we're joined by best-selling author and globally recognized expert on social justice philanthropy, Edgar Villanueva. And he authored a book just last year titled Decolonizing Wealth. Again, that's Decolonizing Wealth. That's also the website. Indigenous Wisdom to Heal Divides and Restore Balance. And it provides hopeful and compelling alternatives to the dynamics of colonization in the philanthropy and social finance world. He also serves as the chair of the board of directors for Native Americans in Philanthropy and is a board member of the Andrus Family Fund, a national foundation that works to improve outcomes for vulnerable youth. And he has a whole bunch of other things to his credit, but we'll leave that into our narrative and conversation that my co-host Helen Lee here on Erasing Shame will facilitate. So Helen, take it away.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to our very first episode for National Philanthropy Day. And we have here, and if I pronounce your name, you have to show me what the pronunciation is, because English is not my first language, and many immigrants like myself, so for all our listeners, especially from the Asian community, including the Middle East, this show, please listen. Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah. And then I'm going to introduce do I say doctor?
No, I'm not a doctor.
Oh, you're so humble. You got PhD though.
Well, just sort of an honorary one, but yeah, I'm just Edgar.
Okay, fine. We just call you Edgar, okay? Yeah?
Thank you. It's an honor to be on your podcast.
Yeah, we like you.
I like you guys too.
Oh, see? That's philanthropy, right? It's love.
That's right. It's all about the love.
Yeah. I don't know you. You don't know me, but it's just today is a happy day of generosity, right?
That's right.
Yeah. And then in Korea, we do this. Yeah, that's love.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah, and then the other one is this. It's love.
Oh, haven't seen that one.
Yeah. You can see the lots of memes. I send you meme. The Korean meme. Yeah, it's popular.
Interesting.
Yeah, just like the poo emoji. Korean people invented it.
I love it.
So yeah, we really like you to come to this show and talk on National Philanthropy Day. Not just because we are all people of color and we work in the nonprofit and we're very passionate about wanting to help people and make the world a good place for everybody, right?
That's
yeah.
Right.
So we also, even though English is not the first language, we like smart people. We like to read the books by smart people. And DJ and we like geeks. I am number one geek.
I love it.
And I like the books that I can recommend to my children. Right? Because I want my children to be generous.
Oh yes, I love it.
Yeah. So I wrote my questions here on this paper.
Right.
And it's the theme of, so I'm going to read off the paper because,
Okay.
So the theme is on using money as medicine and indigenous teaching to redistribute wealth and power to address and correct history of colonization and oppression. That's a lot of big words, by the way. So you can make it simple for us. Yeah.
Sure. Absolutely. So, in the United States and really around the world, but particularly in the United States, for 500 years, we've had a history of colonization, which means that, folks came to the shores of this country and stole land, harmed people, took away their resources and the power, and really oppressed folks. And there was a genocide. This is November is Native American Heritage Month,
Yeah.
and on
Yeah.
this day we remember history. We also think of and celebrate our resilience, but we come from a history in this country of a lot of trauma because of colonization. Our people were killed, our languages and cultures were eradicated, and we're still, holding on to that culture and fighting for our sovereignty. And so a lot of colonization, began as colonization, and then we also had slavery in this country. And so a lot of people of color historically have been exploited in this country in order to accumulate wealth. And so money and wealth sometimes has a strange connotation for people, because we think of money as a bad thing because people were hurt in the process of really accumulating money. So the idea that money can be medicine is this: it's thinking about, if there is pain, if there is a hurt because of our history and because of how money has been used, can we use wealth and money in a different way to help repair, reconciliate, to fix, to help heal that pain that exists? And I say the answer to that is yes. If we move money and give money to communities of color, to communities that have been suffering and are suffering the most, then we can use our money in a sacred way, in a way that's helping to heal.
Wow, sacred. I
Sacred.
like that. I like that word, sacred.
Mhm.
SACRED. Yeah, sacred. You write that down, okay? That's a good word.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sacred. That's powerful. That's very powerful. And I say that because here in Erasing Shame for season 4, we are calling New Life, New Season. Yeah. New
Yeah,
Life, New Season. We say that here on National Philanthropy Day because we want you all, everybody, to have healing.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. See, DJ Chuang and I, we introduced ourselves. We are also suffering, but we're highly functional.
That's right.
And we're happy. We're happy and healthy. See, I'm so happy. I use pom pom on my pen.
Right.
Yeah. What do you have that make you happy?
What makes me happy? I really love food, and I enjoy finding the best food in town. I travel a lot, and so when I get to a city,
DJ too.
I'll DJ
You travel too much. You guys are like
too much. Yes.
too much.
So, but I love
don't know how
finding
you
the
do
good
it. Yeah. What kind of food you like?
I love all kinds. I think my favorite genre of food, or my favorite type of food, is Mediterranean.
Okay.
I love lamb. Lamb is my favorite
Oh
meat.
yeah, me too. I love barbecue lamb.
Yeah.
That's why I also do the DJ. Not like DJ Twang, but I'm DJ K Honey. I make Korean pop music with barbecue lamb.
Oh,
Free
wow.
food. Free food. You can come to Niagara Falls. I feed you too. Yeah.
That sounds good. I love it.
I'll feed you. Barbecue lamb in the summer in Niagara Falls.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, and Korean pop music. You like Korean music?
I don't know if I'm familiar with Korean music. I've been to Korean karaoke, but they weren't playing Korean music there.
Yeah. So
super familiar.
one thing we look at here is show in the podcast, and I'm sorry you're the first guest, so we're gonna talk about the difficult things first, but that's
Sure.
okay.
Oh,
That's okay, because we are erasing shame.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a student right now. I'm going to try to be, the very difficult job of being maybe, if God wills, ordained minister and the registered psychotherapist.
Wow, it's fantastic.
Yeah, I want to help
Yeah.
to find the cure for healing.
Yeah.
Because DJ Choi and I, we survivors, and we are both told that there's no cure.
Wow. No, I believe that you're going to find it.
Yeah, we're on the conquest. You can join us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Help us find the cure.
Right.
So speaking of cure, so I'm also a professional fundraiser. So for our listeners, previously in the introduction show, DJ Chang and I'm gonna talk for myself. I don't want to talk for DJ. He's just hiding like a fly on the wall right now. So I just leave him. But for me, I'm not just trying to be the registered psychotherapist with an intercultural counseling specialty, but I would let our listeners know, beyond my bad English, I'm also a professional fundraiser. So I have also my certified fundraising executive designation, and I fundraise more than this best-selling author. Yeah, I fundraise more money than him by $5 million. Yeah,
Right.
This is my humble brag for National Philanthropy Day. Power to the women of color organizing. Yeah,
right.
We underappreciated. Okay, you respect the women of color, especially the immigrant women and the migrant women, for justice and peace.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's why I have pom pom on my pen. Yeah,
You've done way
I'm
better
gonna
than
say
me.
this on National Philanthropy Day because I'm tired of seeing the women of colors organizing get culturally appropriated.
That's right.
You want to learn Korean? You go listen to Korean pop music.
That's right.
And eat the kimchi.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth. No,
Yeah,
listen.
you eat the kimchi too.
You've done way better than me, more than 5 million, because the money that I have worked with philanthropy, I didn't raise most of it. It was money that was in the foundation. I just gave it away. You raised, did you say $155 million?
35.
$135 million. That's
like 5 million more than you.
It's 130 million more than me. I've probably raised about $5 million in my career, but I've been giving away.
I know you humble. But you're rare. I don't want to discount it. I know you're humble. That's why I like you and I like your book. I see you have good heart. Yeah, but I honor you. Don't dismiss it. You are unique and you are a positive role model. This coming from mother.
Oh, thank you, mother.
Yeah, I'm mother. You have children?
I don't have any children. No children here.
Oh. You like working and teaching children too?
I like children, and I do enjoy times when I get to be around young people and to mentor and hang out and maybe teach. Yes, I think the answer is yes. How to think about it.
Yeah, we need lots of positive men of color role models.
Yeah, we do.
We have these deficit-based narratives about men of color, and they're so scary. Men of color, the rapist, But I think about that guy Emmett Till in America. You know that guy?
Yes.
Yeah, you want to educate the people of America because you're American. Yeah, about Emmett Till on National Philanthropy Day.
Emmett Till was basically a young man who was lynched in Mississippi back in the 50s. based off of simply being a young kid. He was a young black kid who um, I think the story goes where he offended a white woman, or a white woman was offended, um, and I think he was 15 years old, and the accusation was that he was making, I think, a sexual gesture toward her, and he was lynched. And of course, historically in the United States, if you were black and there was even the assumption or the accusation that you were doing something wrong, especially a black man toward a white woman, there was immediate punishment by death. So that type of sentiment and mentality of anti-blackness is still pervasive in our society.
Mm.
Of course, we have laws now, and things have changed in some ways, but we still see disproportionately, in the criminal justice system and with policing, that black folks, especially black men, are largely disproportionately affected by those injustices. Yeah.
It makes me sad.
It's very sad.
How does it make you feel when telling me and the listeners about that history of America?
It's a very sad history. In the United States, we have a very dark history where we have hurt a lot of people. And we, as a country, don't acknowledge that. We don't accept responsibility. We often don't teach history in our school systems, the true history of this country, which is really important for us to know and understand that these things have happened. Because if we know the truth, we can begin to be on a process of healing. That's why in the book, when I talk about healing, the very first step in the book is actually grieving. Because when you know the truth of what has transpired, when we begin to understand how communities have been exploited and harmed, we should feel sad. Like human nature should be, we should feel sad, and we should grieve that. We need to collectively grieve our history as a country so that we can, take responsibility and begin to have a change of heart and mind, so we can move forward in a process of healing.
Yeah, I think for me, because I don't know if I explained or if I shared with you, Edgar, that I'm like a ministry trainee right now.
Hmm.
I don't know. Did I explain to our listeners that? If I didn't, I'm just sharing now. And the reason why I bring that up is because and I'm also trying to be right now I'm also a psychology chaplain trainee for racial healing. That's my area I want to focus on. And we call that lamentation.
That's right.
Yeah, we lament.
Hmm.
We're not depressed. We're angry and sad because it hurts. And so in his dichotomy, in my opinion, by the way, dichotomy is like philosophy. So it's like there's this war between the right and the left brain. Oh, sorry, my internet is not stable. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you cut out just a little bit, but you're fine now.
Yeah, we're so grassroots that my internet cuts off sometimes. Sorry. We're not that professional, but we try. It's labor of love. That's volunteerism. That's philanthropy. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So anyway, back to the point of this episode, because I wrote on my paper here so I stay focused, because I can go all over the place when I'm too excited. So, addressing colonization, indigenous teachings, and racial equity. Oh my gosh, that's too much hard words. So you need to help us, okay? Not the white man. You help us, okay? So you can help us by helping to understand English, because English not our first language. Yeah. So back to the question, how do you address the big word colonization? COLONization. So we start with that word first. And then second is the indigenous teaching. Yep, that's the second word. Indigenous, INDIGENOUS. And then the last big word is racial equity. EQITY. I spelled that right. Did I?
Exactly.
EQUITY. EQUITY. Yeah. Equity. So I don't care about the white man today, because the white man, they make me so angry sometimes. Especially the racist, rapist white man with billions of dollars. And then they try to be the president of the world power. I'm going to say no. Yeah, no. Yeah. Hashtag time's up.
That's right.
Yeah. So you let's go do it. We do empower
Okay.
each other. We learn together.
Sure.
Yeah.
So colonization is let me think of a simple way to explain it. Colonization is what happened in this country when the settlers or the white folks from the Europeans came to America, and they began to, kill people, take the wealth, put people into slavery. They brought slaves from Africa, and it's all about dividing and controlling and oppressing and dominating, and really taking over the souls and the mindsets of people. And it is a force that is still at play. Often we think about colonization as history, something that happened before, but we are still seeing colonization happen around the world, and we're seeing colonization continue to happen in the United States. When we separate families and we put children in cages and all of these terrible kinds of things, those are acts of colonization that are keeping people oppressed and causing harm in communities. So colonization is a force of hate and violence that we are fighting against. We are in a battle, as you said earlier, against this darkness. And indigenous teaching. So I'll move into the
What
second
is
one.
that? Yeah, what
So
is that?
indigenous is that word means the people who are native or originally here in the land. So in the U.S., it's Native Americans. We have more than 560 tribes across America. We are the indigenous people who have been here on this land for a long, long, long time. And so the teachings are our culture. It's what our grandparents taught us, how we should be, how we should see the world, what our values and beliefs should be. And so indigenous teachings are teachings that I have tried to remember and to learn from my community to guide me in how I live my life, right? So generosity is a teaching, right? To respect the land, to see you as my relative, to see you as my sister, is all my relations is kind of an indigenous teaching. So a lot of the ways of being and existing and living as an indigenous person are values that are very opposite from colonization, because colonization wants to tear us apart, it wants to separate us, it wants to divide us, whereas the indigenous teaching or the indigenous worldview or way of being is about coming together in unity and restoring balance and having us be connected as a community versus separated. Does that make sense?
Yeah, in your book, you call that the disease of the colonizer virus.
That's right. It is like a virus because sometimes we may not see colonization happening where people are being killed and land taken away, which you still see that, but it's also very subtle, which means it's not obvious sometimes the way that there may be policies that are passed or there may be systems in place that are affected by the colonizer virus that to us seems normal because we're so used to it. So when you look at public education, for example, right, there are schools in your town probably that are better schools and have money and have resources than other schools. Why are the schools separated in that way, right? So you see that our education system has the colonizer virus, is infected with the colonizer virus. We have to be very aware of the dynamics of how the virus is showing up so that
Yeah,
we can treat it.
yeah, because it hurts.
It hurts us, absolutely. And all of us, even white people may think that they are not harmed by colonization or, but they are also harmed by the virus.
Yeah, the virus is in the mental health. Everybody have
Absolutely.
it. It doesn't matter if you're white
That's right.
or if you're black, Asian, indigenous, gay,
Absolutely.
disabled. Everybody have mental health problem. It's the disease of the West.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. That's
Wow.
my opinion. Because why the poor country and the poor people more generous than I'm calling you out, bitch. Jeff Bezos. How you pronounce your name, I don't know. But you're a jerk. You not pay the tax.
Mhm.
Then you give the money as a charity to people like me. Fuck you.
Right,
This
right.
coming from the Korean mother. I pay my tax. I donate, more than 10% of what I make. I make what? What next to what you make, jerk? Yeah. You
Yeah.
listen. I'm gonna tag you on Twitter after this come out. I hope you listen. Your public relations team listen, bitch. Yeah, I'm Canadian, so you can't even shoot me.
I love it. I love it. Tell the truth. No, you're exactly right. You're exactly right that we even know from
Yeah,
research
Jeff
that
Bezos. That's his name. He don't
that's
pay
right.
tax. But then I saved by grace. So am I gonna go to hell because I swore at Jeff Bezos? Am I gonna get sued? Is this libel or slander? I don't know. I'm Canadian though, so we check the international law. I double check.
Well, Amazon has operations in Canada too, so
I don't care. I boycott Amazon. I publicly tell everybody boycott Amazon.
okay.
I have two demands. Okay, Jeff Bezos, I hope you and your PR team listen, eh? Sucker. Number one, you pay taxes, okay? Number two, you give 99.99% of all your money, motherfucker. And you sign the giving pledge, and then you challenge all your billionaire cronies to do 99.99% and eradicate world hunger, bitch.
That's right. I
Pay off the debt for the 37 countries that can't even qualify for the World Bank welfare, bitch. Oh, sorry, my daughter.
I heard her.
I caused my daughter to say. Yeah, I'm so passionate because I think that my opinion, and I'm privileged because I'm Canadian, and this is me because I am a certified fundraising executive and I know my shit. So, um, in Canada, legally, we are protected by the Charter of Freedom and Rights, freedom of expression, and freedom of speech, and all the wonderful anti-oppressive policy discourse. I know that's big word. So human rights, yeah, human rights champion. Canada tried to be, okay. So
Yeah.
we don't have the gun. So I can say whatever I want. And then for charities, you can say whatever you want. Political, religious, I don't give a fuck. You know? So I kind of privileged I use this to talk about it with you two today.
I love it.
Because you guys can't. It's like the time I was standing between the North Korea and South Korea. Not even Korean people with the Korean passport can go to North Korea. And especially the DMZ guarded by the United Nations, because the Korean War is still not over. We only signed the armistice agreement, but the war is still going. That's why North Korea has the biggest nuclear weapon in the world. I'm Korean. We fighters. I'm not communist though. But I'm just saying, we invented taekwondo. So yeah. And I'm sick of the racism. You think that Asian women are like Lucy Liu. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I say Lucy Liu because she's sexy and she's smart and she, but that's not the only kind of Asian. We need to see more Asians. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And we actually are the richest. Not you, America, and not you, Canada. The richest countries in the world is China, Qatar. That's Asian continent, not Asia and Middle East. The colonizer wants you to think that Middle East is not part of Asia, but the continent of Asia in geographies actually include Middle East. Yeah. Middle East is a colonizer label. And we here at Erasing Shame think label is only a theory.
That's right.
Yeah, it's just theory. And theory always change. That's why you have to go back to school and learn and listen. Yeah, so we're going to teach you today. Yeah. So I have two best-selling book authors. I'm also trying to write the book myself. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna step back so my brothers can now ask each other questions and talk, because I like to talk, but I'm gonna step back now, so I'll give you guys space. Yeah.
Well, we're here to learn from Edgar.
I will put my hand up.
Yeah, we're here to learn from Edgar, and we're about out of time. So
no, we want to again.
Yes, we can reschedule another time and have part 2. And
yeah, if Edgar want to come back, because I know you're so busy and you famous.
Now, I'll close with this question, Edgar. So, when you hear the word shame as a Native American working in philanthropy, what comes to mind?
Oh, interesting question. I think of what comes to mind off the top of my head is sort of internalized oppression. And what I mean by that is that we as people of color, we as people who come from backgrounds, maybe we haven't had money or power, we sometimes internalize the messages from the mainstream messages or the dominant way of thinking, and begin to feel bad about ourselves, and maybe even ashamed. And I know when I was growing up, there was this idea, even from my family, that I should try to be more white. I should play with the white kids and not the black kids, right? And I tried to hide the fact that I was even Native American sometimes, because I thought I would fit in and have a better opportunities or success. And so I think that's what I think of as shame, is that we're internalizing those messages that we are less than, right? That we're not worthy. That we just all have to reject. And what I've learned is that by tapping back into my Native American culture and really shifting and decolonizing my mind, which is kind of unlearning the bad stuff and relearning my culture, I just have a lot of pride. There's nothing to be ashamed of. We have something that other people wish they had. We have a joy, we have a peace, we have a worldview, we have a connection to each other and a connection to the planet that is extremely valuable. We are actually very rich and very wealthy in that regard. So So reject the shame, erase the shame, and stand proud in your culture and your identities.
That was a wonderful answer. Thank you for sharing that from your heart.
Wait, I
And
have one last question because
okay, go ahead, Helen. You get one last word, and then we're going to wrap up.
Yeah, one last question, okay? In your book, you talk about the 7 steps to healing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's my last question because I don't know if everybody read your book. So can you just, really hammer home for our listeners the point of this show, which is what are the 7 steps of healing? Because we're on this journey of healing.
Sure. Yeah, I'll try to, there's a lot in there to unpack. I'll try to give a brief summary. I will say, hopefully people can read the book to learn more, but there's also articles online that you can search for free to read if you're not able to get the book. But ultimately, the steps to healing are really about restorative justice. It's really about understanding truth and what has happened, where the hurt is. And we talked a little bit about grieving. That's the first step. Once we come to terms with the truth of our history, we will grieve when we know that we've hurt others, and then we will apologize. That's step 2. It's actually beginning to look outwardly and to apologize and take ownership for the harm that has been caused to others. And then as you go through the other steps, they're about really getting into a right relationship with each other, whether that's individually, whether that's between organizations, whether that's between a victim and a perpetrator, whether that's between philanthropy and a nonprofit, wherever there's been something that has been harmful. It's about getting into a right relationship, and healing has to happen in a circular way where we all come together through a collective process. So it's about truth and reconciliation. It's about taking ownership and also having a type of getting to a way of listening and opening ourselves up to people that requires extreme dedication and commitment. Because it's very easy for us to hurt and run away, or to refuse to take ownership and not want to talk about some of these issues that we need to discuss. So that's kind of the gist of it. And I think on the other side of that, we begin to repair. As we're healing, we begin to repair. That's about reparations. That's about moving money and resources back into communities that have been marginalized and where resources have been stolen, so that we can attempt to right the wrongs that have happened.
Reparations philanthropy. I love it. I love it. Got that right. Reparations philanthropy.
That's right.
Fist up, everyone. Put your fists up in the air like you just don't care. Yeah.
Well, Helen and Edgar, wonderful to have you on the Erasing Shame podcast. Thank you for sharing your time and being generous with some of the things you've learned. And I'm hopeful that in our generation, we will see change and healing, and we'll right the wrongs of the past and create a new and brighter future that brings healing to all. So our listeners and viewers, thank you for tuning in to this episode of Erasing Shame. I personally do highly recommend the book, Decolonizing Wealth. It will open your eyes and help you to see things that you don't see, because we are immersed in a culture that hides a lot of these systemic and history issues that affect us internally, as Edgar had also noted and writes so eloquently in the book. His website is decolonizingwealth.com. We'll add links in the show notes to his other articles, his book, of course, and other resources that we find out about him. So everything's at erasingshame.com. Find us on Facebook and YouTube, and subscribe at Apple Podcasts and Stitcher, and almost anywhere you listen to podcasts. So thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you again on the next episode. Bye-bye.